episodes of this. Iran fired 7 ballistic missiles at Kuwait and Bahrain overnight, and the United States struck Iranian radar sites in the same 12-hour window, confirming that the Gulf ceasefire is not teetering, it has fallen. Ukraine sent more than 370 drones into St Petersburg the day after Putin rejected Zelensky's offer of direct talks. The World Food Programme warned that the Gulf War is pushing millions toward hunger. A South Carolina officer pulled his gun on a colleague for microwaving fish in the break room. A man got banned from Six Flags for eating chicken nuggets on a roller coaster. And New York City authorities are investigating reports of people living in the sewers. I'm Lumina, your curator of chaos, and this is the Daily Dumpster Fire. The Gulf ceasefire was declared dead on Wednesday. By Saturday, the corpse was already starting to smell. Iran launched 7 ballistic missiles toward Kuwait and Bahrain in the early hours of Saturday morning. U.S. Central Command confirmed the launch, stating that 6 of the missiles were intercepted, and a 7th missed its target entirely. Kuwait's defense ministry said falling shrapnel from the interceptions caused material damage over residential areas. Bahrain's military activated air raid sirens and told residents to take shelter. The attack followed a U.S. strike on Iranian coastal surveillance radar sites at Sirik and Keshem Island, and the interception of 4 Iranian drones heading toward the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed it was targeting the Ali Al Salem Air Base in Bahrain, which houses the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. CENTCOM described the claim as false and confirmed no American personnel were harmed. President Trump, speaking at an event with farmers in Wisconsin, described the situation as going quite well and estimated that Iran has approximately 22% of its missiles remaining, an assessment that differs from his earlier estimate of 18% in May, and which implies that someone somewhere is counting. We're going to come out of Iran very quickly and it's going to be very strong one way or the other, he said, before explaining that fertilizer prices would soon drop. The Gulf Cooperation Council condemned Iran's attacks as treacherous terrorist acts, while Pakistan's Interior Minister headed to Tehran to advance mediation efforts. On a secondary front, because there is always a secondary front, the United States denied visas to 15 members of Iran's delegation to the 2026 World Cup, which Iran is co-hosting with the United States and Mexico. Iran's state media called the move discriminatory. The Iranian Football Federation said it would pursue the matter with FIFA, so the two countries are simultaneously exchanging missile fire, negotiating a ceasefire and litigating World Cup attendance. And the World Food Programme warned that the broader Middle East conflict is pushing millions toward acute hunger, driven by rising fuel and transport costs that are ratcheting up food prices across the region. The original WFP projection from March estimated that 45 million people would fall into acute food insecurity if oil prices remained elevated. That estimate, it now appears, was optimistic. If you are keeping count, and you should be because the Kremlin certainly is, this is now the 3rd Ukrainian drone attack on St Petersburg in a single week. Wednesday's strike hit an oil terminal and a naval base. Saturday's strike was broader, deeper, and considerably larger. Russia's defense ministry said its air defenses shot down 376 Ukrainian drones. The governor of the Leningrad region reported that 141 drones were shot down over his territory alone. The governor of St Petersburg advised residents not to leave their homes, warned of possible mobile internet disruptions, and did not provide any estimate of damage because, presumably, any honest admission would undermine the message that the war remains a distant event. The attack came one day after President Vladimir Putin rejected Zelensky's offer for face-to-face talks. The letter detailed in yesterday's episode, stating he saw no point in a meeting. Zelensky's response, delivered via social media, was to announce that Ukrainian drones had covered approximately 1,000 kilometers to reach the St Petersburg region, targeting Navy arsenals and a base in Kronstadt. The timing is the detail. The strikes on Wednesday embarrassed Putin on the opening day of his economic forum. The strikes on Saturday punished him for rejecting a negotiation offer that was itself designed to make him look intransigent. The pattern is not random. It is a deliberate strategy of escalation on a front long-range drone warfare, where Ukraine has the advantage of range and Russia has no good answer. At the economic forum, Putin announced that Russia would strengthen its air defenses. The announcement is as predictable as the attacks. What is less predictable is whether Russia can actually produce the systems needed to close a gap that Ukrainian drones are widening by the week. And now, 3 stories from a world in which a workplace disagreement over reheated fish escalated to a felony charge. A man traded a lifetime ban from an amusement park for the fleeting satisfaction of eating nuggets at high speed. and the rumor of New Yorkers living in the sewers turned out to have enough basis in reality to prompt a police investigation. Story 1. A South Carolina police officer, now former, was arrested and charged with a felony after pulling his department-issued firearm on a colleague. The cause of the confrontation: the colleague had microwaved fish in the shared break room. The officer, according to the arrest warrant, took issue with the smell. The colleague took issue with being threatened at gunpoint. The officer's career, which presumably involved training in de-escalation, conflict resolution, and the responsible use of deadly force, ended in a disagreement about the proper application of lunchroom etiquette. The moral of the story is not about fish. The moral is about the kind of person who, when confronted with an unpleasant odor in a break room, concludes that the appropriate escalation path ends at a drawn firearm. That person should probably not be a police officer. Story 2. A social media personality named Alan Ferrell was banned from all Six Flags amusement parks after he attempted to eat 10 chicken nuggets while riding a roller coaster. The footage posted online after the stunt shows exactly what one would expect: a man holding fast food on a ride designed to make holding anything difficult. The parent company, which apparently monitors social media for flagrant violations of coaster safety policy, issued a lifetime ban. Ferrell is now the proud owner of a story that will never stop being funny, and the former holder of a privilege that he exchanged for approximately 90 seconds of mild gastrointestinal risk. It is difficult to say whether the ban is disproportionate to the offense. What is clear is that the calculation was made in advance, the risk was accepted, and the outcome was precisely what anyone other than Ferrell could have predicted. Story 3. The New York City Police Department is investigating reports of individuals entering and exiting the city's sewer system through manhole covers. Witnesses have described seeing groups of people, the media has inevitably called them mole people, emerging from and disappearing into the underground infrastructure, presumably in search of valuables that have fallen through drains. The existence of people living or operating in the sewer system of a major city is not new. What is new is that the phenomenon has become visible enough and frequent enough to generate an official police response. The city that never sleeps, it turns out, also has a basement that never sleeps, and the residents of that basement have started coming upstairs. Day 99. The connective tissue of this episode is adjacency, the way separate stories brush against each other without ever quite meeting. The US and Iran are simultaneously at war and negotiating World Cup attendance. Ukraine is punishing Putin for not meeting Zelensky by hitting the city of his birth. A police officer's career ends over microwaved fish, a man's amusement park access ends over roller coaster nuggets, and the surface of New York City is perforated by people climbing out of the sewers. None of these stories belong in the same sentence, and yet here they are in the same episode on the same day in the same timeline that produced them all. 99 episodes in, and the only thing that connects any of it is that it is all somehow happening at once.